And 30 seconds, please.
I know, Ronnie.
I am freezing.
You're crazy.
I know, right? Right.
Freezing. Crazy and freezing.
Okay, sometime when you're off the court, I'll have ask Yes, there's a switchboard over here you don't know about. That's why we put you.
Okay, let's get started, please. Good afternoon. The meeting come to order. Stephanie, please call the roll.
Mr. Ballard,
Here.
Mr. Perry, Ms. Duplessis, Mr. Anderson,
Here.
Mr. Armentor,
Here.
Mr. Chatelain, Mr. Jacobs,
Here.
Ms. Johnson, here. Ms. Jones, here. Mr. Mallett,
Here.
Mr. McCollister, Mr. McCreary, Mr. Moore,
Here.
Ms. Werner,
Here.
Mr. Williams,
Here.
Mr. Yarborough.
Here.
Chair, you have quorum.
Thank you. Chancellor Ghali, would you please introduce your students for the invocation and pledge allegiance and your faculty member to address the board?
Chairman Ballard, President Alexander, dear members of the board, it's my high honor to introduce Tripp Sicardo and Lee Duchatels. They're both fourth-year medical students at LSU Health Science Center in Shreveport. Both are graduates of LSU A&M Baton Rouge campus. Tripp is going to be doing the invocation. He's going to be going into anesthesiology, and I'll let him say a few words later. And the Pledge of Allegiance will be given by Lee, and she's going to be going into internal medicine. So we're very happy to have them here despite the inclement weather. So, Tripp, could you come forward first, please?
Would you all please stand and bow your head as we begin prayer? God of all creation, we come before you today to give you honor and praise. You're worthy of praise. You're the source of all that is good. You're the source of all our blessings. Thank you for every gift that we have been given. We thank you for the opportunity to come and gather together this day. We ask for your hand of blessing in this meeting. We ask that you would guide us and direct us in this meeting so that it is full of wisdom, productivity, and respect for one another. Thank you for helping us to accomplish our work and our goals this day. Amen.
Lee?
Please place your right hand over your heart. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I've asked Lee. Lee, why don't you go first and make a few comments? So Lee is from Lafayette, and Tripp is from Alexandria.
Okay. So yeah, like Dr. Ghali said, my name is Lee Duchatels. I'm a fourth-year medical student at LSU Health Shreveport, and I'm planning to pursue internal medicine as my career. I come from a family of lots of LSU graduates. My grandfather attended LSU Law School, and all of my sisters attended LSU here in Baton Rouge. So it was, of course, I wanted to continue the family tradition and attend LSU as well. I am proud to be an LSU alumni, and I have been very happy to continue my postgraduate career at LSU Health Shreveport. And I just wanted to thank y'all very much for all your hard work and dedication to our school. It does not go unnoticed. So thank you.
Hello, like Dr. Ghali said, my name's Tripp Sicardo. I'm from Alexandria, Louisiana. And like Lee, I also attended LSU as did my sister, who also attended LSU Law School, and my brother, who's currently attending LSU A&M here in Baton Rouge. Being from Alexandria, I have close ties to both North Louisiana and South Louisiana, so I'm very lucky, and I have the great honor of both attending LSU A&M in Baton Rouge and LSU Health Sciences Center in Shreveport. I've had great faculty, and I've had a wealth of knowledge and a world-class education, and I can't thank you enough, and that's reflected from all of y'all's as board members and chairmen and chancellors and deans. Hard work and effort put forth to select the right people to educate us and inform us and give us the best education so that we can be successful in the future. And I thank you for all your time and hard work. And like Lee said, it doesn't go unnoticed. Thank you.
And thank you, guys. Mr. President and Mr. Chairman, it's these type of young men and women that we're very proud of in the state of Louisiana that we must retain in our state educationally and clinically. So I thank you for this opportunity to make this presentation.
Tripp, you said your sister's a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
And you're a doctor?
Yeah.
Is this like a lifelong employment contract that you have between yourselves?
She married a lawyer, too, so.
Congratulations, guys.
Congratulations. I told Dr. Ghali, make sure he keeps them. We want to keep our bright students in state. Thank y'all. Next item is approval of the minutes on the board meeting held on May 5th, 2017, which were previously provided. Are there any questions? Is there a motion? Is there a second? Second. It has been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the Board of Supervisors meeting held on May 5th, 2017. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. The motion is adopted. Now we will move to the oath of office for new board members. I want to welcome a familiar face to this board. Miss Laura Leach. Hello, Miss Laura. And her husband, Mr. Buddy Leach. Hello, sir. Are here in support of our newest member, Miss Mary Warner, who's not here. She had to leave. Oh, you're here? Also, her husband, Joel, and children are here. Thank you all for being here. If Lauren and Mary will join Mr. Williams in the front to be sworn in. Also, Lauren, our student member, will be sworn in. Sorry, I'm going to get on Doreen about that. Lauren is from Eunice.
That's impressive. That's impressive. He's done that before. Right.
Beautiful family.
Mr. Chairman, could I have a moment, please?
Oh, Lord, Mr. Leach, you got
I've got something I'd like to say. We had an opportunity last night to have dinner with Mary and her husband, and she's going to be a great board member. And I've got to go back a few years and talk about Laura being on the board and her activities on the board, and she was a true member of this for a long time, a great board member. But my wife, Vivian, and I have been married for 49 years now. Next month, maybe, if I can make it.
Bless her heart.
And it's been a real challenge because there's an individual in here that almost created a divorce. He started questioning my wife every time we went to a board meeting, about why I did not bring ice cream from LSU back home. And she didn't know what I was doing with the ice cream, but she did believe you that we were getting it. Uh-oh, the light's going out. But just for you and for Laura and Mary, I have a gift for the family. You can take it home. They're going to bring theirs. Well, it's a tradition that we didn't have, but we may have just started.
Ronnie, that's cold.
It was cold. It was cold.
All right, good deal. Oh, everybody ready? 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Let's get one more. 1, 2.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, people brag on Bluebell and other ice creams, but if you've ever had ice cream from the LSU Creamery, it is really better than all the rest. Dr. Richardson, thank you for bringing that over here for us and setting that up. And it's a good product. Thank y'all.
It is.
Pat, can I have a moment? In furtherance of Ronnie and Laura and traditional former board members, Charlie Cusimano was on our board for 32 years. Can you imagine a member being on this board for 32 years? It's just amazing. They have people out there that have all this institutional knowledge. What I'm saying is basically, King, there's a wealth of board members who are still on the right side of the earth right now. We should have an event honoring our former board members. I think it'd be
It's a great idea.
Great idea.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea, Stanley.
It is.
Thank you, Stanley. Thank you, Ronnie. Thank you, Mr. and Miss Leach, for coming. All right. We'll move to item number 5, personnel actions requiring board approval. Tom, do you have any other comments about the recommendations before the board?
No, sir. Staff has reviewed and recommends approval.
Thank you. Board, are there any questions? At this time, I will accept a motion to approve the personnel actions.
So moved.
Is there a second? It has been moved and seconded to approve the personnel actions requiring board approval. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. The motion is adopted. At this time, I would like to recognize Dr. Kevin Cope. Would you please address the board on behalf of the Council of Faculty Advisors?
Thank you very much, Chairman Ballard. As always, a pleasure to be here. I appreciate the honor. This is, of course, the dormant season, or at least the restful season for many faculty members, but zoologists tell us that even the most slumbering animals occasionally forage the wilderness, so we have at least a few berries to set before you today. And first among those berries, as I said, of three expressions of thanks. First of all, I believe that all thinking faculty, which would comprise at least 90% of them, would like to thank the LSU system administration and all of those associated with the legislative delegation for both the heroical and subtle efforts to preserve the university budget, to educate our legislators, and otherwise to maintain our connections with the governor and all of those who work in support of the state as an institution. We are very happy to see that the university has been stabilized, the university as a whole, up and down the state, and we are aware that there are many good people, both the seen and the unseen, here at the LSU University Administration Building who are responsible for that effort. Second, we would like to give thanks to the three new members of the Board of Supervisors who have continued their dialogue with us. We hope the fourth new member will join that dialogue. As some of you know, I've been in Germany for a while. You can imagine my surprise when standing atop a dune on the North Sea, the whispering wind should bring to me not the refreshment of the North Sea, but rather a buzzing message from one of Glenn Amantor's assistants. So this demonstrates the extent of the outreach of these new members, and we thank them for it. Third, I think many know that Doreen is going to be moving on to greener, or at least rosier pastures in the near future. Doreen has been the point of contact between the Board of Supervisors and the Council of Faculty Advisors for several years now, I believe, and we would like to indicate that we have regarded her certainly as one of our best and greatest and most efficient friends here at the University Administration Building, and wish her well, give a word of appreciation to Doreen. Next out of four items on the agenda, I'd like to mention a couple of public events that are coming up through the entrepreneurship of faculty statewide. First of all, a new plan has been hatched by a colleague at McNeese State University, but with the complicity and engagement of faculty in institutions up and down the state, to mount a statewide day of town halls dealing with public higher education issues on November 2nd. The idea being that in at least one campus of all of our regions, there will be a forum involving major decision makers. As usual, that spirit of gregariousness and generosity, Executive Vice President and Provost Rick Kobeck has already pledged his support. So we're looking forward to certainly a big event on this campus, and I think on many of the other LSU campuses and regional campuses around the state as well. Also, we have an event coming up. The Assembly of State Conferences for the American Association of University Professors is going to hold a statewide event in Louisiana in the very near future to try to get higher education, its faculty, and its administration on a more dialogical basis with one another and end, I hope, the long period of occasional internecine conversations that we have had. That's likely to come up in the late fall. We'll keep you posted about that. We have two policy matters that we'd like to set before you today. One is, again, we would like to mention that we're making good progress in the development of an IT governance policy for the entire LSU system. Of course, the bailiwicks, the jurisdictions involved in the governance of our computer system are ill-defined and somewhat floating, but nevertheless, our new LSU A&M Chief Technical Officer, Andrea Ballinger, has shown a hearty willingness to reach out to faculty and to engage the stakeholders in the IT governance process. We thank her for that. We would also like to suggest that there is a wide differential in the enforcement of smoking policies on the various LSU campuses. Some campuses have the clear air of a Coors Light advertisement. Others seem something like a barbecue pit for the green egg advertisement. We would hope that perhaps the LSU Central Administration might come forth and contributes to policy harmonization so that those campuses that have had great success with the no smoking policies can lend their expertise to the other campuses. Two actions to which I'd like to draw your attention from faculty senates around the state. One is faculty senates are considering the possibility of asking for tuition benefits for children. A few years ago, again with collaboration from President Alexander, we were able to get some tuition remissions for faculty and their immediate dependents. But of course, with the ascent of fees in lieu of tuition, this is becoming a more complex situation and also a major retention issue, considering that there are many prominent campuses around the nation that offer quite extensive tuition benefits to faculty offspring. Also, some of you may have heard that one of our more responsible and feline-friendly faculty members, has urged the Tiger Athletic Foundation to cooperate with the faculty in instituting a $1 surcharge on various athletic tickets, including football tickets, in the hope that that money might be used to promote the cause of preservation of wildlife, and in particular, feline predators worldwide. We know that King Alexander is a great fan of not only symbolic and totemic, but also genuine flesh-eating tigers, and we hope that we can see some collaboration going so that the Mike the Tiger exhibit will not only be a spectacle, not only an educational institution, but begin to have an impact around the world. Finally, my last thought, on a personal note, I have stood at this platform now for 10 years. It is hard to imagine how 3,652 days can go by in such a flash, as if a dream. But I am, through your courtesy, going to be accepting a research sabbatical in the fall, which means that, at least in the immediate future, Ken McMillan from the Ag Center and LSU, a double affiliation, will be taking over as the Council of Faculty Advisors president. He's a very distinguished, learned, stable, and perhaps more sane person than I am, so I think that he's going to give you a good run. I am not going away. Instead of being perhaps the gaseous giant in the solar system of LSU, I will dribble down to some little moon, but I hope that that will give me the opportunity simply to reflect the glory of others in the way that Enceladus reflects the glory of Jupiter. So thank you very much, and if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. Otherwise, happy summer.
Thank you, Dr. Cope. The staff advisors do not have a report for this meeting. Dr. Alexander, would you please present your report to the board?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Chancellor Guiyu Wong wasn't here today for the reasons that he was closing his house, actually in Alexandria, but he's also moving his family from Vermont down here, so I just wanted to let you know on behalf of LSUA. And Larry Oye, as I mentioned earlier, is floating somewhere out there and can't quite make it to today's board meeting. I'd just like to comment on the budget. I'd like to thank everybody for all they've done. Dan gave a presentation earlier, but certainly thank the governor for holding true and not using TOPS or funding TOPS on the backs of our institutions. He was always a supporter of TOPS, but he's also a supporter of our institutions. And we really thank the governor, the administration, our legislative leaders for understanding that they've done this enough to our institutions. And we need, students are going to get hit one way or another and have been, whether on the backs of TOPS or on the backs of our institutions. So we very much appreciate the budget stabilization, but also the work that has been done. We still need to work on the fact that it's either higher education or healthcare, and our medical schools did take a hit on the DHH side of things, and they'll be working through that, including legacy costs that we must work together to stabilize and to pay for outside of our own institutions. I'd like to thank everybody who worked with Dr. Ryan and all of us in making sure that Pennington got the resources necessary that have been taken, or at least stripped from them in the past. This year was a refreshing year that Pennington wasn't under attack, and they recognized the great value of the work that Pennington does and its faculty do and staff do. I'd also like to thank the governor and the administration for recognizing the work that our ag centers do and what they mean to each and every one of our parishes, our 4-H clubs, and all the work that they do for so many farmers and agrarians throughout Louisiana, by ensuring that the $4 million are in their budget that they need to continue, that indeed stabilizes their funds, both of which actually do not benefit from the fee authority issue and actually need the additional help from our state to move forward or to provide the same services or better services as we go forward. Now I'd like to call on Vice President Bill Richardson to give an update on the mitigation bank, please.
Thank you, Mr. President, and members of the board. If you thought this morning was confusing, I'm probably going to make it even worse for you. We've been exploring for several years the possibility of putting some of our property into a wetlands mitigation bank. Working with General Counsel, with Taylor Porter, and some of their specialists, we've explored this in many different facets. And at your next board meeting, I'd like to bring to you a more formal proposal to put approximately 1,000 acres of property in St. Gabriel that qualifies for a mitigation bank. It backs up to a Spanish lake, It is property we're no longer using due to all the budget cuts we've had. We're not doing cattle research in that area again. It qualifies by the soil type to be put into a mitigation bank. This is a laborious process. We will go the procurement route again and seeking people to work with us on this. And so before I got too much farther into this, I wanted to alert you that this is coming. If you have questions or things I need to get any more information for you, please let me know. This is a first for us. There are some other land-grant universities in the country that have followed suit. And we think with all the issues that we've had in this watershed relative to the co-meat diversion channel and other things, that this allows us to do something with that property and protects it. We do not sell the property. It is put into a bank. We will own it as we do now. I just can't farm it. I can't put cattle on it, but I can put trees on it. It'll become a 1,000-acre biological laboratory for our School of Renewable Natural Resources. So there are a lot of real positives. We also will own the timber. It'll be a little bit expensive to harvest the timber because we can't harvest it by normal methods. We have to take it out by helicopter, but we'll own the timber. So this is where I'm heading with this. Tom has been great to work with. We've worked with the Attorney General to get an opinion on being able to keep the money. We've talked with the Vice President for Finance about restricting it so that money is there to support some of the things perpetually. But before I got into this and spent all the time with an SFO, wanted to make sure you were briefed on it. And if you have concerns or pushback, I'd like to know now rather than wasting a lot of time later on this. But as of now, unless I hear otherwise, I'm planning to come to the September board meeting with a proposal and move through the SFO process and go back through all the pain and agony we went through this morning to get on the other side of this. But this is just a briefing, and I'd be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Not a question, but a promise. I will be up to date.
You what?
I will be up to date.
Okay. I will make sure I come over and make sure you're done.
In this quarterly college university campus rec, you have this in your folder, is a magazine that's published throughout the United States. Our Recreation Wellness Center, our very own Lori Braden, who gave the tour to the board, are featured as one of the most innovative recreation centers in the United States. And it's great to see us so prominently featured throughout every college and university in the United States. It also helps to understand that we're 49th in most health issues in the country, and in many ways, our student health is the beginning of getting us out of 49th. And getting in better health habits when students graduate is indeed one of the great objectives of our university. And there's no greater university facility in the United States than this rec center right here, and it's just featured as the best recreation center in the country. Just a board staff update, as you all know, with the loss of Doreen, which has been a vital component of everything we do, and the nucleus of a lot of this administration and the work that we do in this great university. Jason Drotti will be handling the Board of Supervisors board oversight function, and Stephanie Tomlinson will handle the board logistics. Stephanie, thank you for stepping into this role. In addition to that, Liz, I saw Liz Summerall. Liz is here. Would you please stand, Liz? Has been brought back as the Healthcare Policy Director that will work with Chancellor Guiley and work with our Pennington folks, as well as working with Chancellor Oye on health policy issues as they're updated, and as a resource here in the building when health policy issues or other policy matters surface, including legislative issues that need addressing. So, Liz, welcome back. Welcome back to the family. Thank you. And, Mr. Chair, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Alexander. Our next item is approval of reports. You were previously provided the reports for consideration. Are there any questions? Is there a motion?
So moved.
A second? All those in favor of accepting the report say aye. Anyone opposed say nay. The motion is adopted. Before I accept a motion for approval for all committee actions that were unanimously approved, Mr. Yarbrough, do you need to recuse yourself?
I do, Mr. Chairman. Due to the fact that I represent LSU as a board member of the UMC Management Corporation Board, I would like to recuse myself from voting on property and facilities items number 2 and 3.
Noted, sir. Can I have a motion? Second?
Second.
All those in favor of the motion say aye. All those opposed say nay. The motion is adopted. Members, due to the rescheduling of this meeting, we need to ratify the revised 2016-2017 Board of Supervisors meeting schedule. I will entertain one motion to approve the revised schedule.
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. The motion is adopted. The next item relates to our board scholarships. During the spring semester, many of you called asking if you could consider a student on TOPS for a board scholarship. Our current policy prohibits a board scholarship award to a TOPS award student because they cover the same thing that TOPS and a cash award, while a board scholarship is a tuition exemption and a campus receives no tuition revenue for those awarded a board scholarship. While TOPS is technically fully funded this year, some members of the board felt that we should consider revising the policy to at least allow for students on TOPS to combine that award with a board scholarship award. I, as chair, asked James Moore, as chair of academic affairs, as well as Glenn Armiter, James, and Blake, to take a look at this policy with me and suggest revisions. Chairman Moore, I'll ask you to explain the proposed changes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you indicated, we decided to look at we're chosen to look at the scholarship policy. As we all know, TOPS and tuition are not tied together. So before you, each of you should have a red line version of the proposed changes, which we want to propose to you. And basically what this does, this will allow you as a board member, when awarding scholarships, to anytime there's a shortfall in TOPS, to allocate that scholarship to make up the difference. As you all know, TOPS is fully funded for the coming year. Last year we faced a situation where it was 70% funded, and under this proposal, if you, at your discretion, if you wanted to award one of your scholarships and there was a difference between TOPS and tuition, that you'd be allowed to place that scholarship on an individual basis. I would also indicate that although we're fully funded this year, based on what the management boards did in the past as far as 10% increases on a base tuition plus fees, the student today, even though we're fully funded, there's a $546 per year difference today. So that's, other than the 546, TOPS is fully funded for the coming year, but basically this would allow you on an individual basis to make that choice if you deem you want to make it in case we go back and TOPS is not fully funded going forward. I would also, we've added some housekeeping issues to the change in the scholarship policy. We have changed the number of scholarships. As we know, we made that change several years ago from 20 to 15, so it indicates that we now have, it will indicate there'll be 15 scholarships per board member. In addition, the retention period for unawarded applicants is being reduced from 5 to 3 years to follow the state records retention schedule. We will still retain awarded applicants for 5 years, and also note that we require all awarded and non-awarded applicants to file a new application on an annual basis. Substitution of more standard reference to the student financial aid offices is also indicated in the proposed changes, and also some numbering's been changed in this area, and a couple of verb and tenses and minor changes have been made to the scholarship policy. But the major change is to allow a board member, if he so deems, to award a scholarship to make up the difference between TOPS and if there's a shortfall in TOPS going forward. Any questions? I'd be happy to answer any questions or open it up for discussion.
Good idea, James.
Thank you. That's our recommendation, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, James. And with no questions, there's a motion to approve the revised board supervisor scholarship policy.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. It is adopted. Okay, I would like to call on Ms. Doreen Brasso to please say a few words for us, as requested.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and board members. I appreciate everything, the kind words you've all given me as I move to my long-anticipated retirement. I am profoundly honored to have had the opportunity to serve this institution for nearly 10 years and to have worked directly with each and every one of you. To the chairmen and women that I have worked with, Bobby, Ann, Ray, and Scott, I've learned with you, I've learned from you, laughed with you, sometimes almost cried with you, but always, always appreciated the leadership and commitment you brought to your role as chair. I count every one of you, present and former, as a friend, and it is my hope that my retirement does not mean we lose touch. The decision to retire is never easy, and to say goodbye to friends and colleagues that I spend almost every day with is especially bittersweet. I will miss the camaraderie and hours spent admiring the problems of LSU, which we seem to encounter on a daily basis. I will miss my role as resident interior decorator and party planner. I will miss the view of the LSU lakes and trees outside of my window, which now includes a special camellia tree that you so thoughtfully had planted in the yard to mark my retirement. I've watched the sunshine, the rainfall, and the sunset on many days pecking away at my computer and talking to you on the phone. I am now looking forward to new adventures and challenges, and to borrow a phrase from my friend Rolf, to start a new season of my life. And I'm very excited about what's to come. As I leave, I have a parting gift for everyone who works and visits the building. As we were renovating the kitchen a year or so ago, the most significant change was that we retired the vintage kitchenette. It was both appalling and charming in a 1970s vintage Airstream camper sort of way. While the structure had to go, it did have a soft spot in my heart. With the help of Robert Benton, who was the facilities services manager on the project, we saved a little bit of that history. This plaque was made by an LSU carpenter and was carved from tiger maple wood with the original manufacturer's nameplate, aptly called King. I hope this will hang near the Brasso Bistro sign until it's time to renovate the kitchen again, which I'm sure will be in another 40 years. Thank you all very much, to the faculty and staff advisors I've worked with, to my colleagues, to you board members, to my chairman who's been so generous. I wish you all, President Alexander and everyone, and LSU the very best. Thank you for the opportunity to have served you.
Okay, I have a few words to say before we adjourn. I'll let off that easy. I'd like to recognize and congratulate Doreen Brasso, the Assistant Vice President for University System Relations, on her upcoming retirement. We have a resolution highlighting Doreen's service to the state, LSU, and this board that I would like to read. Ms. Doreen Brasso assumed the position of Assistant Vice President for University System Relations in February of 2014 and has been employed with the state of Louisiana for the past 29 years and with LSU since January of 2008. Starting at the LSU Office of Health Affairs and promoted to the LSU Administration Office in 2014. And Ms. Brasso has worked at the highest level of the LSU administration, having served 3 presidents and 4 board chairs, and has served as the LSU advisor for the Louisiana Council of Student Body Presidents, where her extensive knowledge of state operations and leadership development proved invaluable to student leaders. Doreen's attention to detail and keen eye for improvement resulted in the enhancements of the University Administration Building and her colleagues' overall work environment. In her role serving the board, Doreen oversaw the revisions of the popular LSU Board of Supervisors scholarship to ensure its suitability and overall effectiveness, and proved essential during the holistic review of LSU's governing structure leading to the One LSU initiative and the Transition Advisory Team. Doreen has been a dedicated and loyal employee, providing exceptional support and assistance to the Board of Supervisors in the advancement of the board's responsibilities, and above all else embodies a work ethic second to none and a commitment to excellence in everything she does. Ms. Brasso's dedicated service to the residents of Louisiana, the LSU community, and her colleagues stands as an example of those called to public service, and she always maintains a professional and kind attitude toward the board, the president, and her colleagues, but above all is a loving wife and mother. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Supervisors of Louisiana State University does hereby express its appreciation to Ms. Doreen Brasso for her leadership and contributions to the advancement of LSU. I also want to mention that since 2008, incidentally, the year Doreen joined the LSU family, we've seen some challenging financial times. But there's an old saying about it being the darkest just before the dawn. Every step of the way, you've been there to help guide LSU. Than to acknowledge her perfection and, in all seriousness, thank her for guiding us through challenges and bringing us safely to the brighter side. Doreen, we wish you all the best on your retirement, and you will be missed by the board and staff at LSU. So on a personal note, Doreen, or for the board, I think everything was said last night, and yeah, and we, again, thank you. We look forward to, if you follow you on Facebook, seeing all those pictures of around the world. We love you, and you're one of a kind. We have, King, if you could join me up front, and we have something for you. Okay, now we will move on. Finally, the next board meeting will not be until September 8th in Baton Rouge. Members, have a great and safe summer. At this time, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
A second. All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed say nay. The motion is approved. Good evening, everyone.